Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Mark Gozzi here from Black Hat Comics in rockin Milpitas. Every Wednesday is New Comic Day, and I like to give you some great reasons to go to black-cat-comics.com and pick up something fun to read. It's a big week packed with fun stuff to read, some of my favorite titles, some of your favorite titles. Always like to start with the great trinity of comics, Action Comics. That's your 2021 annual. Detective Comics number 1039, the book that launched Batman, the book that started it all, and Wonder Woman number 775. Not necessarily a big anniversary issue, but us old school comic book people love those big numbers and round numbers like 775. Let's go through that really quick one more time. Action Comics annual, big giant size book. Jump into this, get a little taste of what's going on in the super books. Detective 1039, the other Bat book. Everybody's reading Batman. Everybody should also be reading Detective because they're both awesome. And Wonder Woman, Becky Cloonan doing a great job with the great Amazon, one of the best books in comics. Three great titles. If one of those is not on your list, get it on your list. Get it in your stack this week. Infinite Frontier, the sort of the new formation of the backbone of the continuity of DC Comics these days. I'm a little hesitant to call it an event book, but it's one of the bigger things going on. There's been a zero issue, the first issue, the Secret Files, this issue number 2. So pick up some of those other ones or just jump into the latest issue. Like I say, that's kind of forming the new current continuity. Batman Urban Legends. It's a book everybody's been into. It's a nice, cool, double-sized anthology issue with Batman and some of the cool side characters. Everybody loves some Robin and Red Hood and etc., etc. I love anthology books. I love short stories, and I love books that have multiple creative teams. Everybody's a Batman fan, so you don't need to have read all the issues. They don't necessarily carry over. Just pick up that one. If you dig it, then grab the ones you might have missed. Future State Gotham, because Future State's still rolling out. Did I mention that people like Red Hood? And The Joker! I just like saying it that way, Batman animated series style. Awesome seeing the Joker in his own book. Hey, comics, give more villains their own book. People like the Joker can totally carry a title. Let's see him fight some other villains. Let's see him take on some guys besides Batman. Villains are awesome in their own title. Justice League, Last Ride. Sort of out of continuity, but it's always good to see the biggest guns of comics in a title, and that's an excellent dark side cover right there. The Flash also gets a 2021 annual. I know you guys skip the annuals sometimes, you skip the specials, but you shouldn't because they're awesome. Big double-sized adventures. Sometimes they sort of pick up, add to the current storyline. Sometimes they're totally independent to give folks a taste of what goes on in the main book. But for whatever reason, if you love The Flash like everybody with a television does, pick up some extra bonus-sized Flash issue this week. Challenge of the Super Sons, because everybody loves some Damian Wayne, and Rorschach from our man Tom King rounds out your DC stuff. That's your Black Label book of the week. You know we love us anything Tom King. Really digging a lot of the Black Label stuff. Good stuff there. That's already up to number 10, so that'll be wrapping up real soon. Great week for the Marvel guys. I mentioned at the top that some of my favorite titles, like Iron Man, this is your latest issue of Iron Man. You know I pitch anything that has an Alex Ross cover, but this book is one of my favorite titles right now because they're doing a thing like a lot of Marvel books that I'm going to be talking about. Just a real classic vibe. You see Ultimo is there on the cover. They've been busting out a lot of classic Iron Man villains that we haven't seen in a long time, and that's really fun. Classic characters, but with new, bold directions. Really great time to be checking out some Marvel books like Iron Man, like Thor. Here he is taking on Captain America. You know I buy anything that has Captain America on the cover, but Thor's on my list already because, again, like Iron Man, like Amazing Spider-Man, like a lot of things, this book is just as good as it's been in a long time. Real classic vibe going on with a lot of Marvel books. Good time to be an X fan like Excalibur or Way of X or the latest and greatest X Corp. That's X Corp number 3, so grab the other 2 if you missed it. As always, there's a ton of X books right now. They just kind of wrapped up their last event and relaunched X-Men number 1. There's always a lot going on in the X books, but been encouraging folks to check stuff out. You don't have to read all 83 of the books to get the gist of it. Just find the one that has the characters or the creative team that you find interesting and roll with it. Excalibur might be that book. Any of the ones out this week, along with X-Men and X-Force and all that good stuff. Lots of great stories, writers, artists going on in that. Sinister War number 1. It's one of the many books that I wanted to talk about today. Another especially cool cover. You can read more about this one in our newsletter. Spidey has one of the best rogues galleries in all of comics. It pretty much comes down to him or Batman, depending on who you want to fight about. And Sinister War busts out all of them. You know the Sinister Six, but all of his great villains are teaming up. They're fighting each other. They're fighting Spidey. Spencer's been doing a bang-up job with the main Amazing Spider-Man title, so I'm happy to see them give him an event book. All you Spidey fans love Mark Bagley's Spidey art, so everybody should be picking up some Sinister War today because, like I say, that's just a really, really fun book. Speaking of Spidey, Spider-Man Spider's Shadow is your what-if-esque book of the week. This one sort of pontificates what if Peter had kept the suit, had kept the symbiote, and basically become Venom. This book's been really cool and has been red hot, so if you've missed out, you might have a hard time finding the first issue, but find one and catch up to the latest because that's awesome. And Extreme Carnage Scream is your Carnage book of the week. Extreme Carnage 1 rolled out last week. There's going to be a whole bunch of one-shots like this one. I did mention Spidey has one of the best rogues galleries in comics. Spider-Woman, taking on the new Bullseye. This is a book that's probably flying under your radar, but it's really solid. Been pushing Spider-Woman books for a long time. Great stories, great art, great villains, everything that makes superhero books fun. But Marvel does a lot more than the supervillains. They do cool sci-fi stuff like Aliens Aftermath. They do barbarian action like Conan the Barbarian. And they do awesome Star Wars stuff. Dr. Aphra is one of your War of the Bounty Hunters books this week, along with War of the Bounty Hunters. Been loving this stuff. Been loving everything Marvel's been doing with their Star Wars books. Now's a great time. Like the X books, everybody should have a Star Wars book on their list. Try the main book or jump into this War of the Bounty Hunters to see what goes on with that. Like I say, great stories, great art. You don't have to be a Star Wars fan to love all that stuff. Good week for the other guys too. How about some Norse mythology? You know, we pitch anything from the brilliant mind of Neil Gaiman, and we love us some P. Craig Russell around here, some David Mack. This book is everything that makes comics fun. And Black Hammer Visions, been talking up a lot of Black Hammer. There's 2 or 3 different Black Hammer books. There's a few other ones that they've done. If you don't know anything about it, grab that first volume trade paperback, and you will become a huge fan of the Black Hammer verse, like a lot of people are. It's one of the best things Dark Horse does. Silver Coin. It's one of your Image books of the week. We've been loving some Silver Coin, cool, creepy kind of horror anthology isn't, I guess, the right word. Sort of a random one-shots, kind of unrelated but slightly related, fun stuff, along with Ha Ha, another cool, creepy horror book. It's your last issue of this one, so grab the other 5. Don't wait for the trade paperback because you want to get into that. The Mighty TMNT is your IDW book of the week because everybody loves the Turtles. If you've been away from the Turtles for a while, or if you're just following Last Ronin, you should jump into the main book because, like a lot of comics these days, it's as good as it's been in a long, long time. Invincible Red Sonja. It's one of your Dynamite books of the week. You know, I'm always talking up Red Sonja and Vampirella, Deja Thoris, a lot of the great stuff that Dynamite does. Check out some Dynamite for even more Sonja Vampirella greatness. Mighty Morphin is your Boom Studios book of the week. You know, they broke them up into 2 books, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. So if you're a big fan of the MMPR, you're going to want to get up on both of those. Ninjak gets a new number 1 from Valiant Comics. Love me some Ninjak. Love me some Valiant in general. Always pushing the stuff that they do. Always encouraging you guys to grab the first issue of a book from a publisher you might not be reading. It's a good time to see what that publisher does, and everybody should have a Valiant book on their list, like Ninjak or Exo Manowar or Rai or a lot of the cool stuff that they do. Bunny Mask is your Aftershock book of the week. Love me some Aftershock. Bunny Mask 1 took over the world a few weeks ago, so you've been waiting for issue number 2. And speaking of waiting, Mouse Guard is back. Haven't seen a book from Mouse Guard in a long, long time. This is your Archaea book of the week. Mouse Guard is really one of those cool things like Usagi Yojimbo or some of the other ones, one of the sort of more unique titles of comics. You're not going to see a lot of things like Mouse Guard out there. So pick this one up if you don't know much about it, and then go back and check out those trade paperbacks, because like I say, like Usagi, like ElfQuest, like a lot of things, you're not going to see too many things like Mouse Guard. A couple of all ages like Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries, because you can team up Batman with just about anybody, and you can team Scooby-Doo up with just about anybody. They proved that back in the cartoon days. And My Little Pony reaches issue number 100. Love those big milestone issues. You get that far because people love your book. Everybody loves the ponies. Good stuff. And want to remind you that Black Cat Chronicles issue number 2 is up on Kickstarter right now. We're pushing the second issue of our Black Cat Chronicles, Alaska's Port Chatham. If you like this scary stuff, or you just love to support your favorite local comic book store, go to Kickstarter.com and get your copy of Black Cat Chronicles number 2, and go to the site and pick up Chronicles number 1 while you're at it. So what we got for you for this week, go to black-cat-comics.com, click on shop, click on new this week, and take a look at all the books that I showed you. Pick them up, read them, tune in on Saturday, and we'll talk all about them. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.